What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about one of the legends in NBA history, and that is Larry Bird. And I feel like today, Larry Bird does not get the respect he deserves, because people look at him and they write him off based purely off his physical traits. He's not that strong looking, he's not that fast, he's not quick. They just look at him as a slow white guy who shoots three-pointers. Now, if you know NBA history, you know Larry Bird was more than just a good shooter, and there's more to the game of basketball than being athletic. Now, unfortunately, there are some NBA fans who do not think Larry Bird would even be a good role player in today's NBA, and some fans have even compared him to someone like Joe Ingles. And those comparisons, in my opinion, are absolutely ludicrous and absolutely disrespectful. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys what I think Larry Bird would be in today's NBA and what he would average at his absolute peak. Now, before I go into this video, if you guys haven't already subscribed, I would appreciate it if you did so, and if you could like this video, it would help me out tremendously. Now, with that being said, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is Larry Bird and his athletic ability. And by nobody's estimate is Larry Bird a great athlete, but I do think he is slightly underrated when it comes to athletic ability. He wasn't extremely fast, but he was quick, he was smart on his feet, and he had a high basketball IQ that made him seem faster than he was. Now, when it came to things like jumping and playing above the rim, Larry Bird actually has some pretty good poster dunks. He's actually a pretty good player on the offensive glass as well as the defensive glass, averaging exactly 10 boards for his career. And for someone like Larry Bird who couldn't jump that high, to average 10 boards for his career shows just how smart of a basketball player he really was. And some NBA fans will write off Larry Bird purely because he's not athletic, not realizing that we've seen stars since Larry Bird who aren't athletic who have dominated the NBA. The first one that comes to mind is Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk, one of the greatest players of all time, one of the most skilled players ever, had the patented fadeaway jump shot that was nearly unblockable. And as you guys know, Dirk had one of the greatest playoff runs in NBA history. He took down Kobe, KD, as well as LeBron in the finals. So if someone like Dirk can have an historic playoff run, taking down some of the greatest players of all time, what could a prime Larry Bird accomplish in today's NBA? And for me, I have three players that I think most resemble Larry Bird's game. The first guy is Nicola Yokic. Yokic is a grounded center. He does not play above the rim at all. He is a great passer. He has one of the highest basketball IQs, not only in the game today, but possibly in NBA history. And if you watch Yokic play, he looks bored on the court sometimes, kind of like Larry Bird. Bird would just try different things on the court and see if they would work, and Yokic has a lot of that spontaneous burst like Larry Bird. He'll just randomly try things that I have never even seen in NBA games. And the way Jokic is dominating the league right now, averaging 29, 13, and 9 on great shooting splits, I think that right there should be a red flag to anyone who says Larry Bird will not be good in today's NBA. Because if Jokic, someone who's less athletic than Larry Bird, can dominate the way he's dominating, why can't Larry Bird? In Bird's time, he played against some of the best small forwards in NBA history. Dominique Wilkins was a freak athlete. Bird used to torch him. Dr. J, another freak athlete. Guys like Bernard King, Alex English, George Gervin. Larry Bird dominated all of those guys. Some of the most athletic and skilled players the game has ever seen. So I highly doubt Larry Bird would have any problems in today's game with the added spacing and the emphasis on three-point shooting. Now, to segue that, my second player comparison for Larry Bird is a kind of an odd one that has never been made, and that is Steph Curry. And I compare these two guys because of their shooting ability and their efficiency on all ends of the court. Both these guys are amazing three-point shooters, amazing free throw shooters, and they can dominate from shooting and anywhere on the court. Now, in Bird's time, the three-point shot was not as emphasized, and Larry Bird's rookie year was actually the first year the three-point shot was around. So Bird, he did not grow up shooting threes, and the three-point shot in his early career was looked at as a novelty shot and something that wasn't serious, and a lot of teams didn't even try to do it. Now, about midway through Larry Bird's career, when he finally started shooting a good amount of threes, it was still only 3 a game, but he was shooting 40 and 41% from 3, and he was also shooting around 90% from the line. And he was the first player ever to have 50, 40, 90 shooting splits. And I think if you take Larry Bird and transport him to today's NBA and have him take 9 or 10 threes a game, he would have an absolute field day, and he would be shooting upwards of 40%. Now, unfortunately, in Bird's time, they did not know the value of the three-point shot, so that is one big thing that would change for Bird today's NBA. Also, one thing that is very comparable for Steph Curry and Bird is their overall leadership qualities and their ability to make all their players better. Larry Bird came into a bad Celtics team and immediately elevated them to a 50 and 60 win team and made them championship contenders. You can see Steph Curry right now, he's a subpar roster, but he's playing absolutely phenomenal, and he's elevating that whole team into playoff status when really they're one of the worst teams in the NBA. So both Bird and Curry have the ability to elevate their teammates. Now the last player comparison I would have for Larry Bird is one of the young stars in the league, and that is Luca Doncic. Now I've made videos about Luca and his NBA comparisons, but I think him and Bird, it always comes back to those two because both of them are so similar of how they dominate the all-around game. Both are great scorers, great passers, and great rebounders. And when talking about Luca, he's not even 23 years old yet, and he's already averaging 29, 9, and 9. So imagine a 22-year-old Luca Doncic already dominating the league like that, stats-wise, when he's not even a good outside shooter. That should be more than enough proof to show you guys that someone like Larry Bird in his prime, 1986 Bird, could come into the league right now and be an all-time great player. I think if he came in the league right now, he would be at worst the third best player, and at best, the best player in the entire NBA. Now, one thing that separated Larry Bird from a lot of the other players was his great clutch shooting ability. And you know guys like Steph Curry as well as Luca, they're also pretty good at clutch time shooting. That's an invaluable skill that really can't be taught. Larry Bird, he was fearless in the clutch, and he never backed down from taking that game-winning jump shot. But if you ask me what I think a prime Larry Bird, 1986 Bird, would average in today's league, I would say if he tried to, he could average 30, 12, and 8 easily on 50, 40, 90 splits. As Bird in today's league would have extremely good spacing, and if he played with any other shooters, he would be able to find them and just rack up the assist numbers on a nightly basis. And if you give Larry Bird 10 3-point attempts, he's making at least 4 of those. That's 12 points right there. And he was a great player on the offensive as well as defensive glass, and he could get easy putbacks and easy shots at the rim and around the basket. And I think rebounding is one of Larry Bird's most underrated skills. As for his career, like I said, he averaged 10 boards a game. And when he first came in the league, he played almost like a power forward, and he focused on getting a lot of rebounds. So I think Bird in today's league, with smaller centers and more small ball lineups, he might even be able to play the small ball 5, and he would dominate from that position. Now, in talking about Bird's passing ability, in my opinion, he is the best passing small forward in NBA history, and his passing ability is only a step behind someone like Magic Johnson. So I think if you put Bird in 2021 with spot-up shooters in the corners and just guys who can shoot the three-point shot much better than they did in the 80s, that would be a tremendous advantage to Larry Bird. If you put Bird in the post, he could easily look over players and find them in the corners as well as the top of the key. And one of his patented moves was a fall-away bank shot. I think that move would translate tremendously into today's game. You've seen guys like Dirk as well as KD use that fall-away shot that Larry Bird was known for. Now, one thing I want to get back to, and I want to hammer this home, is that Larry Bird not being athletic would not limit his game in the slightest. The 3 guys I compared him to, Jokic, Luca, and Curry, are all having MVP caliber seasons, and they are not freak athletes. Steph is probably the best athlete out of those 3. Luca is an average athlete, and Jokic is a below average athlete, but none of those guys are freak specimens, and they still find ways to dominate the game off of their basketball skill. And basketball has always and will always be a skill-based game. And Larry Bird, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 most skilled players in league history. Anything outside of his physical traits, Larry Bird was an A+ at. And one last thing I will say is do not be fooled by Larry Bird's looks, as James Worthy is famously quoted as saying the following, that he thinks Michael Jordan was not as tough to guard as Larry Bird. Because when you play Larry Bird, you have to play a thinking man's game. Jordan was a freak athlete. He didn't have to be as smart on the basketball court because his physical traits allowed him to get away with a lot of things. Larry Bird had to be precise at everything he did, and he had to always be a step ahead of the defense, thinking on his feet and on the fly. And that's what made Larry Bird so difficult to guard and so irritating for defenses. So once again, I think Larry Bird in today's NBA, in his absolute prime and peak, he would be giving you 30 points per game, 12 boards, and 8 assists, and it would be a triple-double watch every single night out. And he would be doing that while being one of the most efficient players in the entire league, always up near the 50, 40, 90 splits. So that right there is the end of this video. I think Larry Bird in 2021 would be an absolute unstoppable force and one of the best players, if not the best player, in the entire league. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and as always, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so. If you haven't liked this video, that would help me out tremendously. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.